Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and I'm going to immediately hand over to Anthony, who's hopefully going to help me out with a bit of a better intro than I can do with my kids screaming.
You want me to do an intro?
Come on, you ought to have it memorized by now.
I can't remember what he says. This is where you need to have it on one of those buttons.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley.
And if you are new,
to this channel,
be sure to hit the like button,
subscribe
button,
hit the bell notification icon
to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate.
Exactly. The link will be posted in the info box very shortly for everybody to join in if you got any proof for the ball Earth. if you swear, you're going to be kicked out.
Yeah, and please do not swear, yeah. We are joined by, and then he goes, so it would be The Plain Truth, Travis, Jose, and Sleeping Warrior. How are you, gentlemen? And then we go honk honk, and then we jump straight into housekeeping. So let's rattle through this while he's not in control. Any evidence of curvature, gentlemen?
No.
Any evidence of gravity?
No.
Any evidence of axial rotation?
No.
Any evidence of gas pressure existing without a container?
None.
Any evidence of the supposition itself, R?
Nope.
I think we're done. That was done in about 30 seconds. Look how quick that was.
Wow.
Right.
Time.
I might have missed one or two, but we're there or thereabouts without a script. I think that was okay. So.
Any evidence to the distance of the sun?
Oh, yeah, that's my favourite one. No. No evidence. I don't think there is a distance to the sun. I'm dying to. I did get a bloke, actually, that was a baller, and he sent me a link, and he was basically saying, you want to check this out. Not saying it's one or the other, just have a read of it. And in it, it talks about a telescope, a radio telescope near to me called Jodrell Bank. And in it, it says that even Jodrell Bank themselves were not satisfied that whatever info they may or may not have bounced back from Venus was actually from Venus. Quite interesting to read. I haven't read all of it yet, but I lost it for a couple of days. So I've refound it again now, and I'm back on it. So I'm going to be reading that in the next day. But it's just interesting that even Jodrell Bank, a massive radio telescope thing, can't confirm or whatever. I'm just still not satisfied that the ping data, the radar data from bouncing off the moon, the Venus is actually true. But nonetheless, that's what we're told. So, where are we? Did you all watch Rumpus yesterday?
No.
You were on with it yesterday, Travis.
On the show.
Were you on?
Yeah, I was on the show. We had a conversation afterwards.
Who was missing? Somebody. Oh, it's Thingy that's missing. Chocolate. Chocolate's moved house recently, hasn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's gone down. You mean down to Atlanta when he was moving?
Yeah, he's moved house, and yesterday was the big day that he had to move.
Okay.
So he's going to be off for a couple of days till he sorts himself out with an internet connection and stuff like that. But so shout out to Chocolate. But yeah, the Rumpus. I'd listened back to the hangout from yesterday, and basically Rumpus is the master of obfuscation, and he does it every single time. The conclusion of yesterday's show is basically we brought up a definition of neutral buoyancy because it didn't match what we saw with the egg that's suspended in water compared to the pink ball that was held by the floor. Rumpus said that there was a force involved with the floor that was equal to the weight pushing down on it, which was a force. And that force pushing back up a bit makes it, basically allows him to use the gravitational constant in his maths. I didn't agree that there was a force there. I saw it as a resistance or a brake, stopping the ball from falling further. And for that reason, I felt that we needed a different definition to explain the egg, because the egg is clearly not sat on a ledge that's stopping the egg from moving, whereas the floor does stop the rock from moving. So we got neutral buoyancy up, and the definition clearly stated it was the average density of the egg is equal to the density of the medium that it sits in for it to be neutrally buoyant. And that's better describing what we could see with the egg and the water, where the egg was suspended in the water, like levitating. The trouble is it uses the word density. It does not use the word weight. Rumpus spent best part of an hour trying to wiggle weight into it. He showed us all the maths, and I'm sure the maths was right, even though he started to stutter and stammer towards the end, because we started to point out that the word weight is not part of the definition for neutral buoyancy. It just uses the word density. So if it says density, it means density. It doesn't mean weight. So when we got to the definition of what density was, it didn't talk about weight, didn't talk about gravity. And it appeared that there was no need for gravity whatsoever. Nathan pointed out that even if gravity was there, it was cancelled out by this equal and opposing force that he alleges was there that didn't satisfy the definition of force, in my opinion. But nonetheless, he ultimately got kicked because he wouldn't accept that density was the word that was described in the explanation or the definition for neutral buoyancy. And he insisted on it being weight, but weight brings with it gravity. And it didn't say that in the explanation. So ultimately, Rumpus got kicked. So when I went back to listen to it yesterday, I realized that Rumpus is just literally obfuscating again. He will literally make muddy waters really muddy to try and confuse everybody, because the definition of neutral buoyancy simply said it's the density of one thing compared to the density of the other thing. If both things are equal, you've got neutral buoyancy, and that's it. So Rumpus gets kicked. And after the show, I started to think about what happens where you get the egg that's submerged in the water. If you pull the egg down and then let go of it, the egg's going to go back up. If you pull the egg up and then let go of it, the egg's going to go back down. And these are all terms that we use to describe what we see. But what the egg's actually doing is it's finding its state of neutral buoyancy based on its density and the medium in which it's in. No mention of gravity, no need for gravity, just the relative density that the egg sits in. So then it made me ask, well, what are scales doing then? Because if we pull the egg down in the solution and it goes back up again, that's not going to register anything on a set of scales. But if we pull the egg up and then put the scales underneath it when it's at the top, that pressure is going to register something on the scales. So it seems that all scales are doing is measuring the amount of non-neutral buoyancy that any object feels. Now, obviously, we live in a gas. Our environment is gas, and it's very light compared to most objects. So almost all objects appear to us to go down. Arwin would argue that that's a directional force. I would say that's not a direction. It's a state that's relative to the environment in which the object is in. And we know that because a helium balloon will go up. So if you put a helium balloon on a set of scales, it's not going to register anything. It'll leave the set of scales. But if you pull the helium balloon out of its buoyant position and make it into a different medium that's less buoyant than it's currently in, the helium balloon will go down. And we know that because we can test it with a vacuum. If we get a helium balloon, put it in a vacuum, there is no air in there, the helium balloon will now go down and it will register something on the scales. And the thing that's changed is the medium in which the helium balloon is in. So therefore, we can prove that it is the density of the objects and in relation to the density in which it sits that is the reason for why things appear to go up or down, and it isn't always down, and it's not even a direction. It's just a state of density over less density, forcing that movement to happen, because objects will always try to find its level of neutral buoyancy. And that's really what we're seeing, and it doesn't go any further than that.
The words of M. Scott Dish over here. I'm going to play M. Scott Dish because he's not here, so I'm going to read a couple of his comments. He say density equals mass and volume. Also, he say that buoyancy includes gravity. Buoyancy involves gravity, he say.
Well, buoyancy involves gravity if you use weight as your mathematical construct. Well, it doesn't say weight, it says density. So although buoyancy's thing does have the little g in it, well, that would mean that the opposite of buoyancy being density should also have little g in it. But it doesn't. It just has mass and volume. That's it. So buoyancy having little g to density that doesn't have little g is a problem. Because shouldn't they both have the little g value considered if there really is gravity? How can you account for gravity when buoyancy is the opposite of things going down? Buoyancy is things going up. So it's like seems to be seems to be fallacious, in my opinion, that the gravity would be calculated for with the maths for buoyancy, but not for the maths for density, unless you change that word to mean weight.
He posted in here some simple in quotes, simple equations. All right, B equals PVG. P equals density. P is density. G is gravity, and V is the displaced volume. So the three.
So the first one was mass, did you say?
First one is. Oh, I lost. I lost it. Oh, B. Shoot. I missed it again. One more time.
I thought he said density.
The density. Yeah, P equals density.
So the density is mass and volume, right? I believe.
Yes. Mass and volume.
Mass and volume. So we've not got gravity in there, and that's only that is the extent of the definition for neutral buoyancy. It's density.
And then the V as a voltor is displaced volume. V as Vegas.
Where is this? Can we see this on screen?
Scroll back a few messages in the YouTube chat.
For yesterday's hangout.
No. Today, as for right now, I got the split screen. I got the hangout screen and I got the YouTube chat going, and it's live on the YouTube chat. He's typing in a couple stuff.
P equals density of the medium. So it's the rest of the equation that I need, and he's got DVR disabled, so I can't see it. Oh, hang on, no, I can see it in the side chat. Hang on.
We got Chris Berry just joined.
Greetings, Chris.
What's up? How's everyone doing?
What's up? Buoyancy is up.
Yeah, I've been listening to the last couple of shows on density buoyancy.
How did you feel that Rumpus was yesterday? I mean, to be fair, I'll give him credit because he was a lot better to talk to yesterday than what he normally is. He actually did shut up at times. However, when we got towards the conclusion of it, which was there is no weight in the definition for neutral buoyancy, there's only density, he literally lost his temper and Nathan kicked him. What did you think of yesterday's show?
Yeah, I actually missed the end, so I missed the kick, but I heard them meat and potatoes of it. Yeah, you're right. I mean, when he is calm and collected, you know, he can preach his side. I'll just say that, and he does it pretty well. Now, of course, he's just spewing the same stuff we've all been taught for the last, you know, however many years since we were all, you know, in elementary school. But yeah, it's definitely a more enjoyable show when he's not focusing on hanging out.
Yeah, I enjoy him being in because if he does, the definitions don't really work in his favor. Every time he cites something, you have to go to a definition. Because if he cites something and the definition, like, I mean, we all know what weight really means, like in layman's terms. But what you don't realize is that weight, when it comes to the science, which isn't actually science, but weight, when it comes to science, includes gravity, and it needs to be there for their argument. Well, it doesn't need to be there for the definition of neutral buoyancy. And the rock that was being like restrained, stopped from moving, that wasn't in a state of neutral buoyancy. It was being fall arrested. Its fall was being arrested by the ground. That's not the same as the egg that's being suspended in the water, which is in a state of neutral buoyancy. Well, it's because they need that word weight because it's got gravity in it, but it's not in the definition yet. He needs it to be there, and we weren't allowing it yesterday. It went on for an hour yesterday. I managed to
hear this point. Oh, sorry. You want to hear this point on buoyancy? From M. Scott Beach type from Wikipedia. Buoyancy can occur only in a non-inertial reference frame, which either has a gravitational field or is accelerating due to a force other than gravity defining a downward direction. In a situation of fluid statics, the new upward buoyancy force is equal to the magnitude of the weight of fluid displaced by the body.
Let me read
a lot of words.
It's because your dialect is difficult for me to pay attention.
Yeah, sorry.
From Wikipedia, buoyancy can only occur in a non-inertial reference frame. Well, isn't by definition the spinning Earth an inertial reference frame? It is an inertial reference frame, isn't it? So if buoyancy can only occur in a non-inertial reference frame, wouldn't that by definition mean that the Earth's not spinning?
That's interesting.
Do you see my point, Travis?
I do. Yeah, that's interesting.
So if buoyancy can only occur in a non-inertial reference frame, then the Earth can't be spinning.
Well, besides that one, not that one. We're not talking about that one, of course.
Yeah, they'll ignore that bit, won't they? Which either has a gravitational field, allegedly, or is accelerating due to a force other than gravity defining a downward direction, right? So unless the Earth's spinning up at this Flat Earth Society rate that they tell us, which nobody accepts, in the non-inertial reference frame, which is either as a gravitational field or is accelerated. So it's not that one. So either as right. So where's the gravitational field that you claim we live in? Because there is no gravitational field. There is an electromagnetic field. Magnets. That's it. So where's the gravitational field of which you speak? Anyway, in a situation of fluid statics, isn't that a double contradiction? Anything that's fluid can't be static, can it? The net upward buoyancy force is equal to the magnitude of the weight of the fluid displaced by the body. That's not what it said for neutral buoyancy yesterday. It just said the density of the object is equal to the density of the medium. Therefore, the density of the object that is not equal to would dictate its level, its direction, or its perceived direction of travel. So why is it contradictory? It seems to be not saying the same thing. Is that not being obfuscated? I would suggest it probably is. It's not difficult. The density of one medium was equal to the density of the other medium. Therefore, we have neutral buoyancy.
So what did you think about the last part of the show where we had that guest come on and I said afterwards that I thought he was the rumpus? What did you think about that?
I went back to it. I had to listen to it. There were tells that it was rumpus, but there were also things that I thought not. And I would say perhaps, but I wasn't persuaded either way because, there were things that made him sound like it was. But then there were things that I thought, that's a really good voice changer if it's not him. Yeah. I think it's a possibility, but I wouldn't commit either way, to be honest. I wouldn't say yes or no. I'd say possible. I would need more information to make an informed decision because...
I think he just put marbles or grapes in his mouth like Marlon Brando did for The Godfather, and that's what gave him his lisp.
To me, it's inconclusive, but I'm more leaning on it. No, he wasn't rumpus because the stutter would have come out and the rumpusing would have come out more, the interrupting and on and on. Oh, I don't think it was him. Just an opinion.
I don't think Rumpus can stop himself, though. So perhaps I tend to lean more towards that one, that if it was really Rumpus, I don't think he'd actually be able to physically restrain himself because he's like a firework. Once he gets going, he's gone.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wonder why Chris disappeared. Well, anyway, let's not do a hangout by side chat because if they really want to argue that buoyancy's got a gravitational thing, they need to join, present evidence, and then we can work our way through it point by point like we did with Rumpus yesterday. And we'll pay attention to the words that are actually used. And then we'll just find a hole in it because there is always a hole in it, always. But it's interesting that it starts off with a non-inertial reference frame in an acclaimed inertial reference frame. Because they are supposed to be spinning, right?
So lights in the sky, by that I mean crepuscular rays and anti-crepuscular rays. What was the argument about this? If I catch the crepuscular rays coming off the sun when the sun is about to come out, and then the rays are converging in the other side, 90 degrees in the opposite side.
David Abb says, if we prove R, then you all have to admit to your... If we prove R, then you all have to admit to your stupidity. I agree. If you can prove R, I'll be on your side. Crepuscular rays, well, they don't work on a... If we're on a ball, anti-crepuscular rays only work if 76R is true. And even then, you would see a curve. So if you thought you saw bendy lines, then perhaps it was 76R and it was spherical. If they look straight to you, then probably not. So it's down to you.
Yeah, but they are observable, I just don't know how to explain it because it's just a light phenomena. I really don't know how to explain it.
Waz asks, what happens to buoyancy when you heat up the medium? Depends on whether the heating up of the medium affects the buoyancy of the medium in which you're dealing with. If it changes it and it makes it more buoyant, then it will affect the target, the egg in this case. If it doesn't, then it won't have any effect. So it depends on what the density is. Come on, Waz, that's not that difficult. The Earth is a non-inertial reference frame. No. The Earth is supposed to be spinning. Supposed to be spinning. That makes it an inertial reference frame. Anybody disagree with that apart from M. Scott Veach?
A screenshot of that.
Why would you say such a thing?
So we're not spinning, M. Scott Veach?
No, M. Scott Veach, you're the one that's making the claim. You're the one that's got to provide some evidence. We're just saying that it's supposed to be not spinning.
Just look it up.
It's supposed to be spinning and therefore wouldn't satisfy that.
Says, just look it up. So when we describe the Coriolis effect, the inertial reference frame is the Earth. The non-inertial reference frame is the atmosphere. So are you saying that the Earth is a non-inertial reference frame? That's precisely what you're saying. So you're saying it's not spinning. It's not got inertia. Okay? Earth has no inertia, according to M. Scott Veach.
So Dope Smith says a spinning Earth is not an inertial frame. Really? Why is it not? So if you're on a roundabout and the roundabout's spinning, you're saying that that's not an inertial reference frame. I can't see how you could argue that. Flat Enough says the Earth is not an inertial reference frame. It is an accelerating frame of reference. Well, inertia means moving, and the Earth's not accelerating. Hey, enough. The Earth's not accelerating. It's supposed to be a constant.
Did this go mute or what?
ISX. It's gone very quiet as we all do Google searches.
Good morning.
Oh.
So this, by the way, this stuff's all going over my head. I just haven't done enough research into it or study of it, I guess, to fully understand that inertial frame versus non-inertial frame. But this citation at the end I see says, in a curved space-time, all frames are non-inertial. So does that bolster the Glober point? They just say, oh, well, in space-time, all frames are non-inertial. And then they could say Earth is non-inertial.
I guess the question would be, why they're making that statement and what's the justification for it? Because it would seem that it's almost arguing for the relativity aspect where everything's so relative that you can't use anything to gauge anything because you aren't able to determine what reality is. This is really weird. Somebody pop on and say hello, because I'm not sure if the connection's gone or what.
No, we're all just quiet.
You're good. You're good. I hear you. You're heard.
All right.
I don't care. Dead air doesn't fuss me.
Okay.
We're meditating over here.
So
Any proof of curvature? Soundly bendy bridge.
how are you getting on, Anthony? Are you searching for stuff too?
I thought he muted because of his dog.
Oh, right. Yeah, if the Earth is spinning, it has a moment of inertia. Read Wiki's garb on moment of inertia. The moment of inertia, otherwise known as the angular mass or rotational inertia of a rigid body, is a tensor that determines the torque needed for a desired angular acceleration about a rotational axis, similar to how mass determines the force needed for a desired acceleration. So it has inertia. If it's spinning, it's got inertia.
Only makes sense. So I guess I would go back to what Chris read.
Morning.
See, universe today, the Earth spins because it formed in the accretion disk of a cloud of hydrogens that collapsed down for mutual gravity and needed to conserve its angular momentum to continue to spin because of inertia. That's what it says on Universe Today.
We need Chris to pop back on with his. Is he gone? He's gone.
I don't know where he's gone. How you doing, Earth Flattener? Well, if nothing else, M. Scott Veach has got us all searching, stunned us all with silence. Well done, if nothing else, M. Scott Veach. I can't quite believe my ears.
Yeah.
It seems crazy to assert that you're not in an inertial reference frame. Maybe you can qualify it a bit better so we can search better, because so far, not so good, my friend.
Yeah, I've just the postman's just been, and then delivery guy's just been, and the dogs just went mental. But definition: an inertial frame of reference may also be called an inertial reference frame.
You?
Hello, yeah, it's me.
All inertial frames are in a state of constant.
Oh, sorry, I've got to stop you. He's doubled down, or doubled back, rather. But all things in motion have inertia. Nathan Oakley is right about that. So if it's in motion, which it absolutely is in your bullshit religion, M. Scott Veach, then it has inertia. Good job we screen capped you saying it has no inertial reference frame. So, as I described, like when we were explaining Coriolis, it leaves the inertial frame of reference, the spinning Earth. And you're saying it doesn't spin.
Yeah, it says all inertial frames are in a state of constant rectilinear motion with respect to one another. An accelerometer moving with any of them would detect zero acceleration. And we are supposed to be moving. That would satisfy the definition. But M. Scott Veach doesn't think it does.
So, hold on. Forget what M. Scott Veach says. He's contradicting himself. The contradiction lies in the definition of neutral buoyancy. So, according to neutral buoyancy, it's only achievable in a non-inertial reference frame. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, neutral buoyancy...
No, the definition of buoyancy, he said, in Wikipedia.
So, if it's only achievable in a non-inertial reference frame, and we've got billions of tons of water spinning around with the spinning Earth, how does anything achieve neutral buoyancy ever?
Yep. On the other hand, we do have tides. But, yeah.
You could never have a non-inertial frame of reference in a tidal system anyway, could you? It would always be inertial because it's always moving because of tides.
Sorry, it's now telling me specifically to Google, in quotes, Earth non-inertial reference frame, end quotes. So what, if I Google search that exact specific list of words with a hyphen between non-inertial reference frame, that will get me to a specific result that supports your argument, will it, M. Scott Beach? Just join. Just do it yourself. You present it.
Is he in depth?
So, Arwin, I just said then that the waves, the tides, would never create a non-inertial frame of reference because the water would always be moving. And then you said and I was agreeing with you at this point. But then you said that it was a form of logical fallacy. Did you just utter?
Not to deduce that the tides are caused by the motion of the Earth, because that is what you were kind of pointing at.
No, it wasn't. You've misunderstood me, Arwin.
Okay.
What I said was, if the waters of the Earth are tidal, then that would, by definition, would make it an inertial reference frame. But buoyancy is required. This can only occur in a non-inertial reference frame.
No, that's not true. Buoyancy can still function in a moving reference frame, as it were. It's just that the neutral buoyancy thing can only occur when everything is perfectly still.
That's not what it says that M. Scott Veitch is citing.
Sorry,
And he's
M.
wrong.
Scott Veitch, I'd just like to just get
wrong.
clarity. And I quote, M. Scott Veitch, Earth is a non-inertial reference frame. So, if Earth is a non-inertial reference frame, how do we have Coriolis effect? Please, can you explain?
Thanks. Just
he say it's okay. We can move on. He's just trying to help. We can
If
move
it's a
on.
non-inertial reference frame, then how is it moving? That
This is
can't
my
happen.
question.
It has to be stationary.
Nathan, would you present my screen? This is where M. Scott Veitch is reading from. He says, for this reason, an object whose density is greater than that of the fluid in which it is submerged in tends to sink. That's what we were talking about yesterday, density, right? Not weight, density. If the object is less dense than the liquid or shaped appropriately as in a boat, the force can keep the object afloat. This can only occur in a non-inertial frame of reference, or a non-inertial reference frame, which is either a gravitational field, allegedly, can't be proven, or is accelerating due to a force other than gravity defining a downward direction. Well, unless we buy into the Flat Earth Society's continuously accelerating model, then that's not going to be true either. In a situation of fluid statics, the net upward buoyancy force is equal to the magnitude, there it does say weight, of the weight of the fluid displaced by the body. Oh, it's got that wiggly worm in there. The problem with this, though, is if the Earth's spinning...
Science!
If the Earth is spinning and we have tides, then this doesn't satisfy a non-inertial reference frame, does it?
Sorry, I'd like to know from M. Scott Veitch, hey Ablate, in the Coriolis effect, which is the inertial reference frame? Where are you getting an inertial reference frame on Earth in the Coriolis effect, please, M. Scott Veitch? Specifically, I'll repeat it. In the Coriolis effect, where are you getting an inertial reference frame?
It's so silly. If they just drop the whole Coriolis effect bullshit, then they'd pretty much get away clean, because they don't need it for their model. So it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous hiccup that just refuses to go away. It's so stupid.
To have a Coriolis effect, you need a rotating and non-rotating reference frame. I'd like to know, in that Earth system that is alleged to have Coriolis, if Earth is not a rotating reference frame, why would we have Coriolis? Where's the rotating reference frame in the Coriolis? M. Scott Veitch?
How do I find out what page is on Wikipedia? How do I find out when they were changed? Edit.
I don't know. I think
It's not in edit.
to get the real thing, you kind of need to get into libraries, university libraries instead, and find some historical definitions and such. Because Wikipedia, people can just edit it. And
Yeah,
it's
that's the
known
problem.
to have secrets.
I'm checking to see whether Rumpus has been in to edit it last night, because he realizes that the word weight needs to be there and it's not there.
Just want to know, in the Coriolis effect, which frame of reference is giving you the rotation? That's my question, specifically. I'll say it one more time. To achieve Coriolis effect with a spinning Earth, what is the rotating reference frame? This is directed at M. Scott Veitch. Don't want obfuscation or misdirection, or being told that I'm wrong about my understanding about a reference frame. In order to have a Coriolis effect, we need 2 reference frames. One that is rotating. I'd like to know in the Coriolis effect on Earth from M. Scott Veitch, what's the rotating reference frame?
Nathan, I find out that buoyancy page on Wikipedia has just been changed like today, like an hour ago. How do I find out who did that?
Fascinating.
You
Shame
don't.
there's no better definition than Wikipedia.
Yeah, that buoyancy page has been edited in the last hour. I suspect that would be Rumpus, M. Scott Veitch,
sorry,
or somebody.
again, M. Scott Veitch. I don't want obfuscation or ad hominem attacks. I want an answer. In the Coriolis effect, how many times am I going to have to ask you this question, M. Scott Veitch? Very telling. Just give me an answer. What's the rotating reference frame to achieve Coriolis? Simple. Do you not know the answer? Are you stupid?
He's back.
You want to ad hom me, M. Scott Veitch? I'll start saying that after being asked, I think it's 4 times now, I expect to just get an answer.
Get on in here, M. Scott Veitch. Come on.
I'll ask the question a
can do
5th
it.
time for Dumbo, who can't answer it. Maybe he just doesn't know. Too stupid to know the answer. What's the rotating reference frame to achieve Coriolis effect? M. Scott Veitch?
He didn't know that, but pure coincidence, the Wikipedia was changed, so he was citing the old, the old definition.
Search
But that's
prior
very
versions.
interesting. Very interesting that
I
this
see a
subject
search
came out
prior
with
versions.
details and wiki was just changed. Huh?
I see a search prior versions there after the external tool. You might want to check that out.
Say that again.
I don't know. I see a button search prior versions. So
Where is the
Doesn't give a damn what I want. Okay, I'll just assert you
Third.
that you're
External
stupid and you
tool.
don't have an answer to a simple question. You're supposed to be here, the Earth expert, right? Daddy went to space, should know all about Earth. Now I want an answer. If you have Coriolis effect, I'd like to know what the rotating reference frame is. What's that, the 6th time I've asked you? I'd just call you a dumbass. He doesn't know the answer, stupid idiot. Carry on, telling me that you don't care. I'll just keep asking you while you're here, M. Scott Veitch. M. Scott Veitch, son of an astronaut, can't tell me what the rotating reference frame is in an Earth-based system that's spherical to achieve Coriolis. What a dumbass. Why can't you tell me this, M. Scott Veitch?
Because he can't admit it's doublespeak.
they can't get rid of the hiccup in their logic. It's stupid. It's superfluous.
Right, why do I need to
Dumb.
define reference frame? I'll quote M. Scott Veitch again. Let's just get it up. Earth is a non-rotating reference frame. I haven't used that term, Brenda. Why would I need to define it? M. Scott Veitch specifically mentioned that Earth was a non-rotating reference frame. So now my question, following his assertion, I'm not going to define anything. If this idiot that can't answer my question wants to define his terms that he's using, he's welcome to. Me, I'm asking a question about his assertion that Earth is a non-rotating reference frame. Given that we have a Coriolis effect, I'd like to know what the rotating reference frame is. No, I won't get mixed up. It's a simple question. What is this now? 6th or 7th time I've asked him.
Doublespeak.
What's the rotating frame to achieve Coriolis on a sphere Earth, M. Scott Veitch? Dumbass. Why can't you answer this, you thicko? You'd think as a son of an astronaut you'd be able to answer this question. You'd think it'd be a simple question that you'd understand.
It's the rotating ether field.
Come on, M. Scott Veitch. I'll ask an 8th time. What is the frame of reference that's rotating to achieve Coriolis? Goofy tactics, not tactics. Simple question. I'll ask it a 9th time. My simple question, not goofy tactic. If the Earth achieves Coriolis, how is that achieved? What's the rotating reference frame? Yeah, I'll do it 100 times, M. Scott Veitch, and each time I do it, I'll point out that you're still not answering me. It's a very simple question. What's the rotating reference frame that you have to achieve Coriolis effect? I don't mind asking you 100 times. and saying each and every time that you're not answering. You'd think that you'd be the poster boy for a spinning ball Earth and have an answer to this simple question. Very simple. What's the rotating frame to achieve Coriolis effect? 11th time I've asked you.
Come on, Scotty.
No, let us down. Let us down 200 times. Why can't you answer this question? Why can't you answer, M. Scott Beach? Is it because you're stupid? Is it because you don't have an answer? Is it because your answer will contradict your former statement? What's the reason you can't answer? Simple. People in the chat seem to be wanting to answer. You know the rules of the game. It's not a game, it's a question. My question for the 12th time. What frame of reference is rotating if you have Coriolis on a spinning ball Earth? It's a simple question. It's not a game, it's a question. It's got a question mark at the end. I'll ask a 13th time. You
Nathan, can you
defined
in the
this,
meantime present my
M. Scott
screen?
Beach. You said the Earth is non-rotating reference frame. Those are your words. That's your term. You define it. I'm asking you, in Coriolis, which frame of reference is rotating, given your statement that Earth is not. That's why I've stated this, not because I'm producing any of these terminologies. You are. You stated Earth is a non-rotating reference frame. Going to do it till 100 times? Yeah, okay. Why can't the son of an astronaut answer a simple question about whether or not Earth spins? That's what we're talking about. Why won't he answer it? This is incredibly telling. I'll tell you why, audience. Because Earth isn't spinning. He needs it in certain circumstances to be a non-inertial reference frame. Unless Coriolis comes up, then he'll double speak non-stop and not answer a simple question. Is Earth turning to give you that inertial reference frame? Is Earth turning? And if so, would that be the inertial frame of reference to give you Coriolis? Earth turn, right, M. Scott Beach? An inertial frame of reference. It's turning, isn't it, my friend? Just give us a little yes. Yeah, Earth's turning. It has inertia. It's the inertial frame of reference that creates Coriolis, contrary to what I stated, that Earth is a non-inertial reference frame. Yeah, don't need to tell me what I do and don't understand. Just tell me what gives us Coriolis. What's the frame of reference that gives us Coriolis? What's the rotating reference frame that gives us Coriolis? About the 15th, 16th time I've asked.
Oh, look, Paul Voigt is in chat.
Hey, Paul Voigt, any sign of a molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No. Hey, Paul, just to let you know, Paul, I'll be using your example in that paper that I'll be writing that's been funded by fellow people in Flat Earth. You're going to be famous, Paul. Your example of a molten iron core. Just thought I'd let you know that.
Don't ask me what a reference frame is. It's M. Scott Veach that was in the chat making a very specific statement about Earth being a non-rotating reference frame. That's his term. Get him to define it. Don't ask me. I'm asking, oh right, I understood that Earth was a rotating reference frame. That's how we have Coriolis. So I'm saying, what's the rotating reference frame to give us Coriolis, given that M. Scott Veach asserts that Earth is not a rotating reference frame? So what is? Why won't he answer? Why is he obfuscating from the chat? Is he dumb? Is he stupid? Does he not have an answer? I don't know. Seems he just wants to obfuscate continually. He won't tell me what gives us the Coriolis effect. You'd think he would be all keen to tell us all about what achieves Coriolis effect in the bullshit sphere world he thinks he lives in. But he doesn't want to. He won't just say what's giving us a rotation. He won't say it. Amazing.
Yeah, he's
Amazing
not
quality
go there.
of response from the son of an astronaut to just not respond and tell us what gives us Coriolis. Where's that rotating reference frame that achieves Coriolis? Why wouldn't he want to tell us this? Is it a secret?
Hi everyone. Sorry,
Scotty doesn't know. Scotty doesn't know.
He just doesn't know.
I just joined 3 minutes ago. So the question, what causes Coriolis effect if we live on a sphere Earth, could be answered by the reference frame is like the you have the equator that spins 1,600 kilometers per hour. Then you enter another reference frame once you go to to north that spins a little bit slower
from
and slower
from an inertial
We're not talking
reference.
about space.
So from
We're
hold
talking
on,
about on
hold
the
on,
Earth.
hold on.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Earth.
So from an inertial reference frame, the Earth, to a non-inertial reference frame, correct?
Well, the Earth would have
yes or no
different
question.
reference frame.
To achieve Coriolis, this is a fact, you need an inertial and a non-inertial reference frame, correct?
I have to Google the word inertial. Wait, I don't know what it means.
So
or can you explain
sorry,
it to
why are
me
you
for a
here?
moment?
Sorry, why are you piping up exactly?
I don't know what the word inertial means.
Well,
Can you
go away
explain
and
it to
look.
me?
Don't make any assertions here, then, please. If you don't know,
I'm just
don't just say.
the
Just don't
Coriolis
add your
effect from a
babble.
sphere.
I don't need to know your ignorance. Don't tell the audience about how ignorant you are. Just go and look it up.
All right.
Jolly good.
He's playing devil's advocate, Nathan.
No problem. I'll say it again. To achieve Coriolis, you need a rotating frame of reference. That would be the Earth spinning, contrary to what M. Scott Veitch asserts, and a non-inertial reference frame. That's what you need to achieve Coriolis. And yet M. Scott Veitch, who asserts the Earth is a non-inertial reference frame, doesn't seem to want to say what causes Coriolis, even though we all know it's the Earth rotating, according to their religious model. But he won't say it in this instance, because he said it's a non-inertial reference frame, because that seems to be defying what we need for neutral buoyancy. We seem to have a whole load of contradictions, don't we, M. Scott Veitch? Doesn't seem to want to talk to me anymore, he's talking to Flat Enough. M. Scott Veitch, what is causing the rotational reference frame, the necessary antecedent for Coriolis? If you are on a spinning ball Earth, what's giving you that rotational reference frame? Is it the non-rotating reference frame of Earth, as you assert? If so, what's giving you Coriolis? I don't get it. It's a contradiction. Makes no sense. We'll hold the toes of the son of an astronaut to the fire without him even being on the show. Doesn't even need to be here for us to absolutely demolish him. He's the poster child for heliocentric belief. He's the son of an astronaut, propaganda producer for TV, and he can't even give me an answer. What frame of reference is rotating in the Coriolis effect? It's about the 20th time Scott Veitch still haven't answered. What's the frame of reference that's rotating on an Earth that's a sphere to give you Coriolis? I would have thought of all the people I could have asked this question, you would have been able to give me an answer, but you seem incapable. Pound says the next answer won't be telling me what the rotating reference frame is to give me a Coriolis effect. Oh wait, no I'm not. You have no chance to get what you want with this behaviour. What behaviour? I'm just asking a question that you won't answer. So I'm asking the son of an astronaut, who is a proponent of the sphere Earth religion, what gives us Coriolis? What frame of reference is the rotating reference frame to achieve Coriolis? And he won't answer. Refuses. Nothing but obfuscation. Claims I'm playing games. Claims this is a tactic. Claims this is some sort of behaviour.
It's the same kind of behaviour when Rumpus says that you don't know what you're talking about, and then he spends an hour telling us about a word that's not in the definition and how he needs it to be there for this gravity thing. Utter garbage.
15th time. So, okay, I'll ask for the 16th time, M. Scott Veitch. To achieve Coriolis effect, what's the rotating reference frame? So, for all the audience, I'll just remind them that this man is a heliocentric believer, an advocate for the heliocentric religion, and the son of an astronaut who is being asked what frame of reference rotates to achieve Coriolis, and he won't answer.
It's okay. They like M. Scott Veitch over there in the 24/7 debate channel.
He's
Okay.
failing you, Globeheads. Total failure. Can't even give an answer. Pathetic.
So are we talking... Sorry. Please, I interrupted you.
Don't forget to number them. What? So we can point out how many times you haven't answered a simple question about what achieves Coriolis effect. You'd think a son of an astronaut would know this. and not
I
obfuscate it
think the son of
indefinitely.
an astronaut would know this, Nathan. A 5-year-old child. My cousin would understand this, no problem.
It's a dark day to be
we
a
are talking
blowhead.
about a bullet, right? Going from south to north, about Coriolis effect. So we have the Earth as a reference frame. We have the bullet.
Sorry,
as a
what
reference
you
frame,
just said?
right?
The Earth as a reference frame. What kind of is it a rotating reference frame by any chance?
Well, to their definition, it is, but it wouldn't
It
matter.
is. Oh, it really?
As soon
what?
as
So shut up.
if-
That's all I. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. So it's a rotating reference frame, correct?
Yes.
Oh, M. Scott Veach. This guy on the panel says you're a moron. Yeah? You're an idiot, M. Scott Veach. It's a rotating reference frame, the ball Earth. Why would you assert such nonsense? Is it because you're thick? Is it because you're a stupid astronaut's son? Is that why? Yeah? Dumbo, it is a rotating reference frame. It's not non-inertial. You idiot. This guy's just come on and made you look stupid. A layman.
Can I
Where's your
finish to
computer
my
science
sentence,
getting you
please?
now, M. Scott Veach, you retard? What do you mean Earth is a non-inertial reference frame? This guy's come on and just shit all over that. You idiot. You stated it about 4 times. What an idiot. Son of an astronaut's worth nothing. The guy's a moron. So
Can
it's
I
a
finish my
rotating
sentence,
reference
please,
frame
Nathan?
then. Do you want to say that again for M. Scott Veach's benefit? You left it out, the word rotating, when you said it the first time.
Let him finish his sentence, Nathan.
Yeah, you know, once you went like really angry because I.
Oh, shut up. Don't appeal to feelings, you stupid idiot. We've got a rotating reference frame and the son of an astronaut tells us Earth is non-inertial. Don't appeal to feelings.
All right, so, just explaining you the Coriolis effect. All right.
No,
So the
I want to know whether or not Earth is a rotating reference frame or not.
yeah, so
Yes,
You enter
so
from-
is that a yes? Earth is a rotating reference frame, an inertial reference frame. It has inertia. Yes?
yes, it
Excellent. So the son of an astronaut is a dick, stupid idiot who got it wrong and asserted it multiple times because he's stupid. And then when I asked him to confirm his double-speak nonsense, he refused 16 times. Only for a layman to come on and point out just how wrong son of an astronaut M. Scott Veach really was to assert that Earth is a non-inertial frame of reference. So now the question goes back after 16 obfuscations from M. Scott Veach. Why is it that in an inertial reference frame we still managed to achieve neutral buoyancy, M. Scott Veach? Something that Daddy would have worked in. Neutral buoyancy, right? How do we achieve that in an inertial reference frame? The spinning Earth. I'd like to know that. Now you've obfuscated it enough times. We have an inertial reference frame. The spinning ball Earth. Idiot. Now that you've double-speaked your way around it enough, we've established that it is an inertial reference frame. That's why we have Coriolis, according to you dickheads, with your religious belief about something that doesn't happen. So, given that it is an inertial reference frame, how do we achieve neutral buoyancy? Maybe you can answer. Zinda.
Zinder?
I'd rather not, because why should I answer a question that why should I answer a question when you don't let me speak out my point? It doesn't really matter.
Because all we needed was you to say the word rotational, and then you said the
Yeah.
Earth has. Then you said the words the Earth has an reference frame. So you missed out the word rotation. So at that point, you pissed me right off, frankly. Why would you do that? Answer me that. Why would you miss out the word rotation?
Well, it is rotating. It's,
Yeah, but
well,
you
what's
missed
your
that
point
word
here?
out. If you like, I'll edit it together to point out your deception, your deceitful nature. The very point I'd made 16 times to son of an astronaut M. Scott Veach. That devastating point you made had to be dragged out of you after you left it out of the sentence. I want to know why you left it out of the sentence. Why would you try and deceive me and the audience?
Why wouldn't you let me speak out, dude?
You spoke out and missed out a word.
I
Rotational.
didn't speak out. I started a sentence and then you interrupted me. So
you got to the end of the sentence.
It doesn't really matter what I
said. You
said
said the Earth has a reference frame. You didn't mention that it was rotating until I interjected. And I'm asking you why you left that out.
I don't know, because it's
devastating. Because
true,
it's
right?
absolutely devastating to Son of an Astronaut M. Scott Veach. Perhaps that's why you left it out. Because it's absolutely devastating, considering that the argument was about neutral buoyancy, and according to the definition, you need it to be in a non-inertial reference frame.
Yeah, I just said reference frame. It's true. It's a reference frame. I just didn't say it's rotating because it didn't really matter for my.
Oh, really? It doesn't matter that your entire religion's based about a ball spinning? Oh, yeah, that bit's not important when it doesn't match with neutral buoyancy needing it to be a non-inertial reference frame, right? I just thought you'd leave it out. It wasn't. So your excuse is it wasn't important in this instance. Your ball religion is spinning, my friend. Why would that not be important? When it's the very point we're making about inertial reference frames and the fact that your religion has your Earth spinning. You thought that wasn't important? What are you? Just a deceitful sod? Seems that way.
Well, I'm not going to say anything more until you let me explain the thing I wanted to say from the beginning.
I don't care what you wanted to say. We've got a rotating reference frame with inertia, not a non-inertial reference frame as asserted by Son of an Astronaut M. Scott Veach. And then when we tried to get to the point you've come on and clarified with a bit of obfuscation and a bit of deception and leaving out the critical detail, the word that it's rotating, it's a rotating reference frame, you left all that out. Now you want your shitty point to come in. Why? You only Googled it 2 minutes ago. You didn't understand what you were going to say till you went and Googled it live on the show. So are you somehow now an expert in what you've just Googled 2 minutes ago?
That's not at all what I said.
You came on, you didn't have a clue what you were going to tell us. I said, don't tell me what you don't know. Don't point out your ignorance to my audience. Go away and research it. Now you have. Now you think you're some sort of expert and deserve airtime. No. You tried to obfuscate. You tried to obfuscate the devastating point I was making. The Earth is, in your religion, an inertial frame of reference. Now, you don't have to like it. You can leave the words out that absolutely obliterate your point and your spinning Earth religion. You can try and leave them out and claim it's not important. It is important. It's the bit that destroys your argument.
So, can I please explain to you what the official definition is of a Coriolis effect and what causes it?
Yeah, go
without you interrupting me.
I know what it is.
Possible?
I don't need to know anything more than you have a rotating and non-rotating reference frame.
Yeah,
that's what
right,
achieves
then
the Coriolis
let's not talk
effect.
Anymore.
Excuse
right,
me.
So if you don't want to hear me out, if you don't want to
you have a
know the
rotating
truth,
and non-rotating
let's not talk
reference
anymore
frame.
about it. So
sorry,
have
is
a
there
nice
any
day,
more
Nathan.
information than non-rotating and rotating reference frame? Yeah, well, that guy came to crap all over your point, M. Scott Veach, and then got pissed off.
Shout out to the Dodo and Aristarchus in the chat.
Shout out retracted. So.
Still like to know why M. Scott Veach thinks Earth is a non-inertial reference frame. He asserted it on several occasions.
Because he's a moron, Nathan.
Yeah, I think we'll just summarise the show, this show, and maybe title it M. Scott Veach is a moron because he doesn't understand what his religious belief is about his Earth. So, yeah, I think that's probably the best point to end this show on. So we will take a short break. Let's just put a... Okay. With that, I'll say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible, even if it was just from the chat. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. If you hated the show, then you know exactly what to do. But if you liked it, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!